All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast of Action Required Media. Here we are dedicated to discussing hard truth and finding remedies for our problems. On this platform, we will stay engaged on all happenings in Mama Liberia, not limited to politics, religion, development, economy, security, crimes, war on illegal drugs, employment, youth, growth, food and production. Today's discussion will focus on three main points. Today we are discussing what is needed for Liberia development, that is mind development or physical development, what is needed most in Liberia. And other issues, other topics will be discussed later. For me on this platform today to discuss these issues are Edwin Poor, Dr. Archibald B. Wardle, and Sergeant Leo Montgomery. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Action Required Media. We'd like for you to share, like, and invite people. All right. So, gentlemen, we open up to discussion. What is needed in Liberia? Mind development or physical development? Can both coexist at the same time? Anybody want to go? Before we start with introduction, we will start with Dr. Waller, and from there we'll go to Sergeant Leo Montgomery, and then Edwin Paul. Pastor Waller, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you, Joe, and thank you, guys. Good to be here. Good evening, everybody. Happy Sunday, wherever you are joining us from. It is indeed a privilege to be here to discuss issues concerning our country. I'm Pastor Archibald Wallow, and it is my pleasure to be here to join the rest of the panelists to discuss about our country. And we hope you can, join us, follow us, send us, your comment as we continue with the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. Sergeant Leo, come on.
Hey, let me first say good evening and happy Sunday to your listening audience. Sergeant Montgomery here. Let me just first of all welcome myself back on social media. It's been a little over a month, probably a month and a week since I've been on social media. So it's my first time coming back, and I'm happy to be here on the Action Required Media. Just want to say a big thanks to our CEO for giving me the opportunity again to be here. It will be a fascinating conversation. I ask that you stay tuned, share the show, and follow us as we have a conversation of the trending issues in Liberia. Thank you.
Thank you, Sergeant. Edwin.
Good evening. My name is Edwin Cyport Jr. I'm a writer. Um, I just want to thank everybody on here for inviting me to the discussion. It's very important. I think it is pertinent that we start voicing our opinion, especially for us in the diaspora, to try to affect change over there, action wise, but not just talking. Just a little shameless plug over here. You can cop my book on Amazon. It's called A Mission by Edwin S. Ford Jr. I have a, I don't know because of this podcast, but I had a couple of sales last week actually. So I don't know what happened. But anyway,
You pay your due, my man. You pay fine.
Hey, it could be, my man. It could be. So, ladies and gentlemen, so the show is now open. So, last discussion we had on Sunday, we talked about a lot of issues concerning Liberia, and somebody brought up mind development and physical development. So, we are here to discuss: is Liberia problem mind development or physical development, or can the two coexist? Anybody?
just in respect for hierarchy, I think Mr. Wallow, you can either choose to go first, or if you want to go last, that's fine. But you are the editor. So.
Well, you can go ahead, Edwin.
Oh, okay, thank you. Um, so in reference to that topic, is it mind development, or do we need a physical development librarian? my take on this is basically building starts from the bottom, and then laws and order start from the top. What we need more in our country is obviously I'm gonna go with mind development, but we can't even affect the mind development change or try to affect that if we have the same old people like the old wine in new bottles. So we need what we need the most is we need a disruption from the top. So we need a disruptor. So we need somebody that will disrupt the system to affect change, and then we can go ahead and do a mind development. We can stay here and talk about mind development. We all know that education is lacking. Liberal literacy is under 50%. The literacy rate is under 50%. So of course we need mind development because when people are aware, they tend to do better. Civilization is better. Things go better and orderly. We want that. But all of these stuff cannot be achieved we cannot be like we cannot achieve this stuff as far as mind development goes if we don't have Liberia is more than ever now in need of a disruptor. We just have the same people playing the same games, calling themselves different names every time, and we're just on here. We care about the country. We're talking about it, rightfully so, but we're not going to experience anything possibly in our lifetime if we continue with the same people. So nothing's gonna happen. We're just gonna be here talking about it. Obviously, we need a reformation education. We need to develop people's mind. People that are already older, we need to train them. We need to pay them and train them so we can affect change. But the people that we have to lead the future, that mind is not even there. You just look at the salaries of the people, the officials, how much they're being paid. They're driving by people that are coming, kids that are coming from the farm with their parents, got stuff on their head. They haven't gone to school, and they're just driving peacefully. So that hierarchy needs to be disrupted before we expect any change. That's my take.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Paul. Anybody want to go?
Yeah, you're here. Let me add to what Edwin, co-panelists have said. I mean, in any situation, it's good to develop the mind because developing the mind not only helps you as an individual, but it also help you develop your body as well. It help you develop your spirit as well. So if all three is good, then I think you are in somewhat a good place to even help develop your society as a leader. But if the mind is not developed, to some extent, then you tend to be lacking because if your mind is not developed, you may not catch up to the real world. You will see what is right and still think you somewhat will be living in a archaic period in the past. I also think mind development is also good because it always keep you tuned and update. It also helps you to be able to be tolerant. It also help you to be acceptance. It also help you to be well informed and to be able to embrace other ideas, even if you are on the opposing side. So mind development is good. I will stop there for now.
All right. Okay. All right. So, Dr. Water, you want to come in now, or you want me to say a little bit before you come in?
No, you're the moderator, so you can come. You can come next.
Okay. Go ahead.
Let me just, yeah. Thank you, guys. Beautiful points, actually. Um, so in our context as Liberians, um, I'm not actually giving up on this generation or the generation ahead of us. But we are not doing a lot of things right. Okay, and we can see the results. Okay, the results of our actions, the results of our decisions. We are seeing all of that in our country, and I don't think Liberians like the results that we are getting currently. What that means is that we have not been doing things the right way. Uh, Development, whether it is physical or it is mental or spiritual, most especially development, for as a human being, right? Not just as a Liberian, but as a human being. Development does not just start when you are born. It starts with the conception process, right? How a child is conceived, how the child is developed in the womb, how the child is nurtured, and how the child is conceived and taken care of. And basically, when we look at how our our children, Liberian children, are developed in our society, obviously we know that we have a problem, right? We have a problem because uh, the environment at which a child is raised has a huge impact on that child. Whether it is in a community, whether it's in a home, or even in the school. Look at our school structures. Look at the infrastructure we have for education. Look at healthcare, right? Look at water that children drink. A lot of the Liberian children don't have access to safe drinking water. A lot of our children are they don't have a balanced diet. Children are raised in communities and environment that does not have good sanitation. Hygiene is poor. All of these things that I'm naming contribute to the development of the child, not just education, right? So we have a very poor structure when it comes to developing our children, or developing as Liberians, since we are using Liberia in the context, right? So there are a lot of things that need to improve, and it starts with our decision, right? Right now in Liberia, um, a lot of the things that are happening, sometimes we don't equate them to the the 14 years of civil war we have had in our country. Okay, according to the Carter Center, 40% of Liberians experience clinical depression, and 45% of Liberians are diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. Now, you know, a population as small as Liberia population is, with 45% of PTSD, that is alarming. That is concerning. There is no way, people that struggle with mental health issues can develop healthily, right? Even the scripture says that as a man thinketh in his mind, right, in his heart, so is he. So our mental development is very critical, but we don't pay attention to those things. Why you think a lot of our children are turning to drugs? Why you think we have a lot of dropout in our school system, right? It is because we have a mental health problem in our country. The way our children are raised, the way our children are developed, all of these things put the Liberian child, at risk. And one of my major concern is, what would the future of Liberia be after this our generation? What will the next generation be like, right? With all of these things that we are having going that are going on. So we
Yeah.
need to change course. We need to change the way we do things. We need to improve our decision making process. But we need to invest in things that will help a Liberian child to develop healthily, and then also to learn a basic life skills. We don't teach, or we don't do any of these things. So yes, Liberia need physical development, but I would emphasize the mental and the spiritual development. We need that,
Okay.
most especially the Liberian youth.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Water. So this is what I would say, right? I think the mind development and physical development, they both can coexist, but this is what we need to do most. I think the mind development should be focused on more, because the way we select our leaders in Liberia, We need to change our mindset. We need to reshape the way we think and the way we do things. So that would be based on mind development. So I can't say, oh, Joseph Boca should be president because he stayed 50 years in government. I'm just saying. Or George Weah should be president because George Weah, the country loves George Weah. Or is this man time? Or that's my uncle. But now we are not looking at the country at heart. So we have that fixed mind that, oh, it's okay. You came my mom, you came my dad, I will still vote for you. So this mindset of bringing us back and setting the entire country back is a problem. So we as people, Liberian, that vote of age, we need to sit down and reshape our thinking, how we elect our leaders, how we want our country to move forward. If not so, then I would say this, right? The entire population, because you have the generation over and over that will come from 18 to go all the way to 50, 60, they will still be voting in the process. And if the mindset don't change, we'll keep voting the wrong people in office. Like my friend said on last Sunday, Edwin, feed the beast. And that's what the leaders in Liberia are doing. They're not providing solution for the problems because they want to be in control. So my thing is physical development too. We need it as well. Our country is the first African nation to gain independence, and we should represent that when it comes to that. We have our freedom to do things and build our country. Nobody control us. Nobody control us. But our mindset is so. When I say the way we see things, a lot of Liberians is myopic, and to come back to where we need to start, that the water said it. We need spiritual growth. We need mental growth. We need this stuff. So if we start them now right now at school and start training the new generation, that nation over self, nation over your pride, then we're going somewhere. I don't know if anybody want to chip in. That's fine.
Yeah, let me come in a little bit. So my response was, targeted on the individual and the Liberian child, because I think it is just very unfortunate for us to expect from our children what we do not give them. No one can give you what they don't have, right? And if we want to develop a society that that is healthy, we have to take care of how children are brought into this world. We in time past we talk about healthcare, we talk about good sanitation, we talk about all of these things, but we do not give these things to a Liberian child. Okay, I'm not restricting this conversation about Liberia to just Montserrat County of Morovia. I'm talking about Liberia in its totality, right? Even in an interior, right? Children don't have access to modern conveniences. Children don't have access to that. They don't have access to well developed schools. They don't have access to that, right? In election time, we expect them to make better decisions. They grow up in these kind of problems, and then election time, we want their decision making process to be strengthened, to be strong, to be able to choose between what is country, what is good citizenship, what the benefits of election and what of that. When we do not teach them all of that, I think it's a false equivalency for us to expect that from our children when we do not give it to them. So what I think needs to happen again, what I think needs to happen is for us to go back and recorrect all of our decisions we have made that have been wrong. Most of these things that we are struggling with today, not that people don't know, we just don't want to do it. Okay, we just don't want to do it, and it's just unfortunate, right? So let us not expect our children to give us what we do not give them. They don't have it. They don't have it. Okay.
Yeah,
So
but Pastor
so
Water. So lot of
yeah,
the
but
young peoples have social media. They're on Facebook, they're on TikTok, they're on the stuff. So they see a lot of stuff. So they should be able to imitate or learn from this stuff they're seeing. You know, to be able to develop themselves. But most of them using it for different purpose. You know.
Let me come what you guys said over.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, sir. No, go make your point with them.
I'm done. I'm done.
No, were you done, Dr. Wall?
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, just
I'll talk Edwin.
Sorry that what I
I,
cut
was-
you
I,
off.
was, I was just trying to chime in here. So I was going to say, over the past, I try to be a little careful when we talk about mind development as it relates to our people in Liberia, and that's where over the years I've tried to try to study when we talk about mind development. What are we asking for? Because if you ask me first of all, before, like Dr. Waller rightly put it, I think as an individual, we also have to just practice that mind development. But if we are going to equate it to the people in Liberia, and that's why I tend to be careful, right? Because I used to be on the side of, yeah, our people are back home. But if you ask me, right, just to elevate this conversation to one level, I think we in the diaspora, we need to even more develop our minds before wanting to develop the minds of expecting the minds of Liberians to be developed to some extent. Because what happened here is, look, if let's assume, like my brother Joe said, CEO said, the people, the way they vote, the way they elect, and all of that kind of stuff. You see, it's easy to tell somebody, say your mind is not developed, look at the way you vote. And I also want to be careful because you see, if you are not in someone's shoes, it's easy to just look at all the different things and just criticize them. Let's go to education. Better yet, let's go back, look at the electric, the voting system. Look, I know after the 93 elections when Chancellor Womile won, a lot of people criticized Liberian for making the decision they made. But I would say if you had been in their shoes after going through a 14 years of civil war, at least at that time, 7 years of civil war, one would say, well, maybe maybe they were somewhat crazy to have made the decision they made. But it's easy to see it. But if people were tired, right, of civil war, of fighting, they would saw why they made the decisions. But now let's look on the other side. Every bad decision that has been made in Liberia, at least 95% of the bad decision that has been made in Liberia were initiated by people from the diaspora. Ones that you expected to have known better. And you guys will concur with me. And so we leave from here, our people expect that, oh, we are coming from developed countries. So we go there. They expect that we come there with this mind, blowing things to be able to impact their situation. But when we get there, we meet them corrupt. Yeah, we join them in the corruption. We meet them uneducated. We are not able to effectuate change to see that it is having an impact on the people. But yet we say the people minds need to be changed. I agree, but it will not be just limited to just those that are in Liberia. That's why I say if we're speaking him only, yes. But we in the diaspora, America, especially in Canada, wherever, I think our minds need to be changed as well, even more than those that are in Liberia, because we take these corruptions and carry them. But yet we say, oh, the people on the ground. I think the people on the ground, look, man, they say he was down fair, no fall. We might be thinking say that they are naive, but these people are well informed than some of us, whether we are there or not. So I will rest for now, but I try to be careful and balance that kind of conversation.
All right, guys. These are all good points. Uh, I think these are all diagnoses. We're diagnosing the problem here. I keep stressing a disruption. The reason why I stress a disruption in our country is if you don't stress a disruption, if you don't have a disruptor to disrupt the system and reorient and reorganize and bring everything back to formation, you will not have any of these things that you're diagnosing. We have people are on the podcast today as we speak, like us, diagnosing the same problem. Let me give you an example of an economic disruptor that is going to literally just change and create a lot of jobs and literally just change the economy about 30 to 25% right away. If you take the Freeport right now, for instance, if you go to Freeport over there, if people from here can be able to go and love it, and people can make a law to Freeport, and they can have a flat rate for people to ship things in the Liberia, and they have a VAT office in Morovia, like a value added tax. You go, you send your stuff, you go and pay your VAT, you get the receipt, you take your stuff out, you don't have to deal with people, nobody overpricing you for whatever. That alone, just the keke in the city will self-eliminate itself because the few Liberian here will be able to get a low $4,000 car and send it. If they have a flat rate and send it over there, you can charge them elsewhere and generate funds from the people as they run the car for commercial purposes or personal use. You can tax them. But when the Freeport is free, or almost free, like everywhere else that the economy is open, then you can bring goods in. Now, the mine development that you're talking about is that Freeport, if the rate is flat and cheap for people to bring stuff, you have a lot of nurses over here. You have nurses, you have people that are into education, you have people want to send supply. But it's not beneficial if if the container is the same flat rate, $5,000, $7,000, just for you to try to help people. You can no fees. You can station. Okay, what do you have in your container? What are you bringing it for? I'm bringing educational product. This is your fee because it's gonna be like a NGO. You're trying to help people, and then you just have to be able to look at the system, what they're trying to do, and then you verify it, and then you charge them a fee because it's coming. We don't have to rely on the government. Everybody here, you can be at least able to chip in $1,000 or $2,000 liberal development. That's why I say the system needs to be disrupted because they're not going to change Freeport, for instance. They're not going to make it almost free for you to bring things in. The free flowing of goods for people to be able to affect change because the government cannot develop the kids' mind. They don't want that. They need the kids stupid. It's like you're telling, uh, you're telling the alcoholic to stop drinking, but you have a bar in his house. You can't do that. They want the kids to be stupid. That's the whole goal. So it's good diagnosis. That's why the system needs to be disrupted. Now, that Freeport is just one economic thing. There's a lot of different economic trends that you can do that can develop from Liberians, not the government. But they put all these hurdles in place on purpose so nobody's able to do anything. They frustrate you. You send one old car over there that's already depreciated, 2007, whatever car, they put a 2,800, 4,200 free fee on it. Just to frustrate you to not bring development into the country. Because we complain about keke and stuff, keke can be eradicated from the state. The fees, the taxes they're going to collect from you, they can use it to build roads, better roads so you can have better cars. So if everybody's riding Tesla with better air conditioning, nobody want to get in a keke. And then they're using the taxes to build roads. So it's triangular. Then you have people that are in services. I want to bring medical devices. People that even want to bring agricultural products. Make it easier for things to come in. But they block those stuff on purpose, all by design. So all these things cannot be affected. We cannot effectuate change except we have the whole system disrupted. That's why I keep stressing it. But these are all good diagnoses. The mind has to be developed. We will sit here and there's a lot of podcasts that are talking the same thing that we're talking about, discussing the same thing that we're talking about. Good diagnosis. No changes is gonna be. Nobody's giving up. When I'm not giving up on very I'm futuristic and I believe in the future. I actually believe that Liberia is at the best stage right now for you to develop. I'm not one of the person that giving up Liberia. You just need the right brain and the right people. Liberia is not even worse. I tell you, Liberia is perfect right now when it comes to economy and developing a place because everything is not fixed. You don't have concrete stuff. You can break things down. You can pay people for that places and you can redesign the place. So it's just perfect right now the way it is. As far as problem goes to solving things. But you cannot do that. You gotta have the thinking people, the people that have the mindset to think. That's why we need a disruptor. We need somebody to disrupt that's gonna bring something different than we have been seeing for all of these years. They're not gonna Uh, the government not going to create more schools for the schools to compete against the private schools, so the private schools can bring their fees down. They're not going to do that. The Indian population is stupid. They want people to vote for them. That's we can diagnose the government's not going to do it, but we that whatever population of Liberia or we can do that. So the way we solve this thing is we can do it one at a time. A certain group of Liberian people can get together over here and go over there to the lawmakers over there and advocate for like and sell a point as to why the free port has to be cheap and you can give them a different code and stuff and how they're going to benefit. Maybe you sell them the benefit. If you achieve that, if the free port is open, that's a victory and you move on to something else. But we can do this gradually. But we cannot do it telling these people what they want and you're telling them not to do. That's the opposite. That's the opposite of fixing it. It's not going to be fixed. They want the people exactly where they are. They're not going to fix it. They don't want to fix it. They don't have an incentive to fix it. So you can gradually go to them, sell them stuff, sell them a benefit. If they see the benefit, they make a law, put it in stone. Okay, we got things that are almost flat rate, are free put now. People are free to bring that stuff in. They can regulate what's coming in, what's coming in. They got all these different codes, how they're going to tax people and stuff. If they want to be corrupted with the taxes, that's on them. But at least goods are going in. A lot of educators are bringing goods. People want to develop people's minds and stuff like that. But they're not going to do it. That's why we need
So,
somebody to disrupt the system. Not your guns.
I mean, everybody here is, we're basically saying the same thing. But this is why I would
You know,
say, to addition. Yeah, Pastor, Dr. Ola, you want to go?
yeah. Let me just say
Okay,
something quickly.
go
I
ahead.
think I think I wanted to stress that there's a difference between mind development and a change of mind. Okay, uh, mi- when we're talking about mind development, we are talking about developing people intellectual abilities, like people having the kind of perception that will enhance the quality of their lives. We're talking about how people think. We're talking about people developing problem solving skills. And there are so many factors that can play into that, and I pointed out two of them. Now, if we are talking about whether Liberians need a mind change, that is a different conversation. And I'm saying that because of the layer that Pastor Kruma added about Liberians in the diaspora. But let me say this: we grew up in Liberia. We were born in Liberia. We grew up in Liberia, and for me, I was an adult before I came here. We were not taught how to love our country. Okay? We were not taught how to be patriotic citizens to Liberia. We were not taught that, even in our school system. Okay? Students are not taught how they can serve their country. In other African countries, before you graduate high school, you have to do a voluntary service, right? And you have to earn certain points or you have to work for certain hours. We did not do that in Liberia, right? But yet and still, we are expecting our students right now in Liberia, they don't even teach civics. Okay. I think the upper the either high school now is doing government. Okay, but before when we were going to school, from elementary, from junior high, you start learning civics about your government, the role of your government, the role of your senator, the role of your representative. Okay, our governmental infrastructure. You learn about that. Government functionaries. You learn about that in civics. Now they don't do that. They teach government from in high school, right? So if we say Liberians need a mind change, 100% agree with that, right? Because the kind of mind that we have about our country, not that we hate our country, but we don't do better when it comes to our country. And I think it is because of how we see ourselves and how we see our country. Okay. But all of that will not be as important as us developing the next generation, developing their intellectual capacity, giving them the right tools that they need, giving them the infrastructure that will help to develop them, giving them good health care, exposing them to things that will keep them healthy, right? So these things are very important for us to do that as a country, right? If we don't do that, it doesn't matter who becomes president. It doesn't matter how many times we have election. We will continue to repeat these mistakes, because if a man is not developed intellectually, if he's not capable of making good decisions, right? If he cannot read, if he cannot reason, right, between what is right and what is wrong, how do we expect, that individual to make a good decision when it comes to who he elects or who he supports? But besides, in addition to that, before I close, Rojo, labyrinth, my brother Edwin said it. People, most especially our leaders, maybe they find pleasure in keeping labyrinths poor so that labyrinth can continue to serve them. Okay. And that speaks to why we have the kind of economy that we have, right? Labyrinth, look, when people are desperate and they are in a state of destitute, they don't have a lot of option. Anything that comes, they will take it. Even if it is a bag of rice, for them to give you their breath right, they will do it, right? Because they are just poor labyrinths. So those are the things that we need to change, right? Because a man was nothing right if he's hungry, right? There were people that are new doing the work because they couldn't afford for their family. They will rather lose their dignity and find something to eat than to keep it and starve to death. That's what poverty does. It strips you of your dignity as an individual. And that's what labyrinths have been rejected to. Abject poverty. Our people are too poor, and yet, and
Let me
so in
jump.
the
Let
midst
me
of
jump
that,
in real quick.
we expect them for them to make these very important decisions when it comes to election. Let's learn to develop the intellectual capacities of our people, most especially our children. Let's give them a very good education system. Let's provide health care for them. Let's give them an environment that is healthy, that will make them to grow up in a healthy way, so that they'll be able to compete with other Africans or other children in the world. When we do that, we'll be setting our society up for success for the future. If we don't do that, they will follow the same mistake that our parents made, that we are making now. They will follow that same thing. There will be no change.
Okay, that's a good point. Sergeant
Mr.
Kurma, were you
Waller,
trying to come
Mr.
in?
Waller, no, Mr. Waller, real quick. What do you intend to get the funding from to develop the people mind like today? Where you get the funding from? What is your just give me a point. What does the funding comes from? If you want to develop, let's say you want to develop 1,000 people mind today in Liberia, if you want to give them the best quality, where you think the funding is going to come from?
You can get the funding from the national budget, right?
The people that are in charge that want this to be like what it is, that you want to go to them borrow from them. You want to go borrow from the people that want to rob you.
Okay, so let me answer your question. Okay. Well, so you can get the money from the national budget. I know the point you're making is that we have not actually gotten that from the people that are in power now. So we are never going to get that from them because that's not their interest, right? But I always believe that not everything that you approach will change, but nothing changes until it is confronted. What we are doing now, as you pointed out, that we are giving diagnosis to the problem, right? But more than that, so we are also providing, the way that we see it, the way we see the solution to be for our country. Those that are in power now going to stay in power forever, right? There might be someone that might come across this video, might listen to what we are saying. It might make sense to them. Who knows? They might occupy a position of authority. They might occupy a position of influence, right? And they might change because of what they hear us say. So we don't have to wait for these people that are in power to leave power before we can actually discuss these issues and provide the way we see the solution to be, other people are going to come along, right? But what I'm saying is that we have to look, the way to build our country is to build the people, is to develop the people. If the people are not developed, build the infrastructure, they will destroy it. They cannot maintain it, right? When the people are built, then the people become your greatest assets. Okay, that's what we need to do. And it is not just academics. Okay, I'm talking about every fabric of a human being, the way a child is conceived, the way the child is nurtured, the way the child is raised in the home. Right now, the Liberian family, the fabric of the family is destroyed totally. There is nothing in Liberia that works now because the fundamentals that keep a country strong, we have actually gone against that. We have destroyed that. The 14-year war helped, but we are not rebuilding that. And that's where my focus is, right? That we need to now put our focus on the next generation. If Liberia will have a future, we need to focus on the next generation.
All right. So let me just jump in here real quick. I think we've all been saying the same thing over and we're becoming repetitive, which is good too. But let me, if I will ask a question, right? And I want to piggyback from what my brother Edwin was saying in last segment. Freeport and the clearance and all of these things that are happening. And for me, the reason why I am in terms of mind development or let's say we change the people's mind, and the question is being posed here by our CEO, what is needed in Liberia? If I will ask the question to Brother Edwin, not that he should provide the answer, but if you know, he can go ahead and help. But all of the previous directors at Freeport, Liberia, moreover, the Freeport of Liberia, all of the previous directors, if not 55 or 65%, or probably even up to 80%, all of the directors has been folks that came from the diaspora. One, because they were connected to the government or the incoming government and what have you. So you because this is my thing when we talk about mind development, my expectation of people that leaves from here with the pre-notion that okay, I'm better off than the people that are on the ground, right? And that's why I always say the people from the diaspora, while mind change is good, the people from the diaspora are number one failure to the country. That even before we start attacking the people on the ground, I think you guys can agree with me with that. We come here.
I disagree with you.
Okay,
So,
that's my
so
opinion.
brother, I want to do a little pushback on the people mindset. The people from here, they're going over there and they're imitating what the system is telling them that's good. Because you can't leave from here and go play fair if you're playing a game you want to win. You can't leave from here and play fair if the whole system is corrupt. So they have to play that way. Now,
No, brother,
if if you have a system in place that's gonna make them verify things, and you're gonna be auditing and stuff, they're not gonna play the way like the way the people playing.
Edwin, you're a disciplined man, you're an upright man. Assuming you've been hired to work in finance, and you go to finance and you meet all kinds of corruption. Are you telling me as an upright disciplined man who had obtained all this education from here, go into Liberia, find all these different frauds, you will refuse to initiate some kind of change, but because the system is corrupt, you just follow suit and say, let me just join the guys and don't find the opportunity.
Wait, real quick, let me wait. What you just said to that, we got one of our friends, I'm not gonna say his name.
That's fine.
He found out he had 100,000 contract that he's supposed to audit that's doing aliens administration. Do you know he wanted to kill that boy? All the people under him corrupt. He was the only all-white person that was beating on his door, his office door. They're trying to kill him. You take your life out of the corrupt people for the people to kill you.
And so
you have to give each of the person say you have to sign that document every day.
You know what I would have done, Edwin? You know what I would have done to save my reputation and even the country's reputation? I would have left that society and come back to the States or just resign.
It's not from here. It's not from here.
Better get resign, my brother. You cannot change who you
are.
So
go where? They will be broke? The man got his a job. I
Oh my
pay him
God.
twenty five hundred a
All right.
month in Liberia.
Okay.
Like, you
But
kidding me?
anyway, let me
All right.
let me
All
go
right. So,
back. Let me go back. I'm not done yet, Mr. CEO.
okay.
I'm not
All right.
done,
Go
right?
ahead. Go ahead.
I've been listening, right? So again, we from the diaspora, my brother just concorded with me that okay, it's good you can leave from here, go join the corrupt system and be corrupt as well because that's the system there, and that's why I'm disappointed, my brother Edwin. Let me just lay that. But
I did not say what you just said. I'm just
okay,
saying that's the playbook they have. You got to play the
okay,
wing. That's
I
the
agree.
playbook.
Okay, I
Somebody
agree.
need to reset the playbook so
Yeah,
everybody can be able to adhere to
okay.
it in a fair manner. That's what I meant.
Point well taken. And Dr. Wallace stated a very good point. Also, I will push back on. He talked about we are not taught to love our country. He talks about civic not being taught again. Now I didn't go to school in Liberia. At least my elementary was then Civil War, then I travel overseas, right? For those of you who may have at least gone through middle school or high school and everything else. Now, for what I've been told, our civics that are being taught. And again, I'm just quoting from what I've been told. I could be corrected. But the thing here is, if our civics are not even teaching us on current things, events in Liberia, we are being taught of American history. How can you teach somebody to love the country about nation building when you are bringing all the people that fought World War II and all the different things? Now you teaching students how to learn French. Of course, it's good to learn foreign languages and that. When our own local languages, we are not even introducing them now. Only Pele is being, and that's in a university level. So, to nation building and love for country has to be a fundamental grassroots thing. And I agree. I'm agreeing with you, Dr. Waller. So you see, again, who are the people that are introducing these things? Half of the time, I always say, look, my disappointment in the Liberians that are in Liberia are looking forward to people that are in the diaspora to come there and bring change to them. Now, I feel that should stop. Liberia now, to some extent, the people's eyes are opening. They should stop. They should start depending on diaspora Liberians to come in the country and get all these big positions, and these people kick them to the side. And my brother just said, "Oh, then I will just follow the system." No, they are there. They are living it. Let them decide now that okay, we will take our country into our own hands and forget about these guys who are coming from overseas just to come and enrich themselves. And now I got 5 friends that are currently working in the government, guys that were not even having bar from me in America. But if I tell you the houses they building one right here in Delaware, I will not call him again. And when we talk, I just laughed. I just laughed like, bro, are you really doing these things to Liberia? So again, the mindset is good, but at the same time, my disappointment is on us that are leaving from here and going and thinking that the people will just embrace us because we are from here.
So let me just come in real quick, right? And I concur with everybody, but I concur more with Sergeant Leo. The fact that we think in the diaspora, right, that we are more advanced than going to Liberia and then going into the same corruption, the same people who complaining about and doing the same old thing. Now, so to my brother Sergeant Kruma, the thing here is if these things are all campaign stuff. If somebody
Yeah.
gave you $20,000 or $40,000 from their saving account here to 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 foster your election process and you win, and that person is giving you the opportunity to go back to get a job. When you guys go, you guys try to get their money back, the hard-earned savings. And don't get me wrong, that's corruption. Okay, but in the process, they do money for money. These guys don't have the country at heart. And you're right. The Liberians in Liberia, the Liberians in the diaspora are destroying the country. I think we need to have check and balances where we have people check these people. Honestly speaking, I think it should be foreigners doing it. Foreigners, not Liberians. So you have people coming to all the agency and get all the directors, the managers, and this that edited every month. If you find in the act of corruption, we seize all your property, sell them, or give it back to the government. But we use the same Liberian people to come and edit these guys. The guys just bribe them. What a love for country. What a mindset. It's not going to grow. Once we don't have penalties for these guys that involve in corruption, Liberia situation will always be the same. We all saying the same thing here, and my brother said it. We are diagnosing the problem, and the problem has been diagnosed. And the main thing here in Liberia is feed the beast. keep the people stupid and control them, keep them dumb and control the entire generation. I'm sorry for my expression, but that's what is happening in Liberia. These lawmakers don't care, and that's the same thing we refer to the last discussion we had. What are we celebrating? 100 and some more years of age of independence. What are we celebrating? Passing around from state to state with red cup. What can we point to? The oldest independent nation in the world, in Africa as well. What can we point to? The mindset. We need to reshape. We need to rethink. We need to redevelop ourselves and put nation over anything. Look, the conversation is hard, but we have to have this difficult conversation and point out the truth. I got family in government. We all here have people or friends in government, but it's okay because they're taking the country money, doing what they want to do is okay. When it's my family member, fine. But our resources have been misused. When we will actually see development in Liberia? The natural resources, every Liberian can have a share of it. But these guys just use our natural resources, send it abroad to different countries for little of nothing, just because
Joe,
it's
Mr.
hard,
C,
you know.
Mr.
Can I
C,
can I come in quickly?
Go ahead. Sorry, brother, Sergeant.
Yeah. Pastor Kurman, let me just chop in 1 minute and then you can come in. Um, let me say the two things first and then um so not everybody that leaves from the diaspora to Liberia go there to grab. Other people go there to restore. Okay. And for the past for the past uh for the past decade and a half, we saw President Sirleaf uh, became president, and she invited Liberians from the diaspora. President, we are exactly the same thing, both Liberians from the diaspora and Liberians in Liberia. And President Boaka is doing exactly the same thing. Regardless of where you're from, whether you're from the diaspora or you are in Liberia, you are a Liberian. Okay, you are a Liberian. Education does not change people. When people don't have character, you just make them smart rogues. Not because an individual is educated, so we should automatically expect that they're going to do any better. You see, Edwin continued to talk about the system. The system that we have in Liberia, if the system remain what it is, regardless of your sincerity, right, your heart of serving your country, it forces you to succumb to the everyday happenings, right? I remember when Senator Dillon got elected, at noon, right, as a senator. Senator Dillon disclosed his assets, and his bank account. I think he had two daughters, and people were mocking him. Right? People were mocking. Look, the system and the culture in Liberia is such a way that people expect you. The system expects you to be corrupt. And if you are not corrupt, we consider that to be you being a fool. Right? Corruption in our society is now being termed as a way to hustle. Okay. So whether you are a Liberian from here, from the diaspora, United States, Canada, or wherever, or you're a Liberian in Liberia, we are all the same. It's one country, one people. If our heart is right for our country, it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter where you come from. Your heart should be right for your country, and you should expect yourself. You should hold yourself to that, to that level of you being the difference, you making the difference, right? Regardless of where you're from. So whether you are from here or you are in Liberia, there are things that are not just acceptable, and we shouldn't do that because it does not put our country forward. It actually takes our country backward, right? So we have to think right for us to do right. But right thinking is not automatic. It's built in people. If we don't develop our people to think right, what we see happening will continue to happen. And to just close with the Freeport thing, right? And Edwin, your analysis about the Freeport of Monrovia, in an economic sense, it makes sense. But guess what? Alexander Cummings talk about that simplify the laws, simplify it. It shouldn't be any complicated. Even a high school, a student that is in high school should be able to read it and understand it, so that we would be able to get things out of the Freeport of Monrovia faster. But they didn't vote for him. They didn't vote for him.
But Cummings, I was supporting Cummings, by the way. He doesn't know how to talk in Zil. He never played soccer before, so how you expect that? He doesn't know how to say, oh yeah.
Edwin, my point, my point, Edwin, my point is there were candidates, that 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 develop plans around what you were talking about, but because of the intellectual capacity or abilities to to make right decisions, our decision making process, because of that, our people will rather take a bag of rice than to look at a plan, someone's vision for the country, and say, you know what, even though I don't have it now, but this thing this guy is talking about, it will help me and my children in the future. Let me not go for what I want now. Let me give him the opportunity for him to develop the country, because when the country is developed, we all will do better, right? That way of thinking, right? A lot of our people don't do that because of the circumstances that I talked about previously. So we have people that want to do those things, right? But they have to be elected for them to do it. That's the point I was making.
Okay. Sergeant Montgomery, you want to come in?
No, I think we should just continue on. I agree with everyone. But I would say, while we equate character to education and all of that, I still believe that education plays some role in a man's mind change, because if you are an educated person, you're being taught to know that, okay, you got to put nation first. It just helps your character to be a better person. And I was going to say
No,
that.
no, 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 no.
I come in.
Education, what he said about it was morality versus being educated. So if you're a moral person, educated or not, you remain moral. Like for
I,
instance, a
I
regular
agree.
poor person can say, I want to drink beer. But when you go to school, you can say, I enjoy beer. You don't look like a drunkard when you say, I enjoy
I,
beer. But
I, I,
when you say, I'm drinking my beer, so that poor person look like a drunkard. So if you have a morality, education or not, you maintain your moral core when nobody's looking. That's what he's trying to say.
okay. Yeah, let's move on, CEO.
No, I just wanted to add a couple of things. I always stress in education, like Mr. Wallow writing put this, the not making people proud of Liberia. Your flag looks like a Texas flag. The education system, the wide opening of the Western Union, like anybody can send any amount of money from Liberia, but you can't do it from the other countries. It's all by design. That's why I keep stressing that the system has to be redone. We have this thing hanging over all. That's why most Liberian people are just confused. There's a huge confusion, whether spiritually or morally, we're confused. You're not going to be taught that because whoever started it, it should have been corrected a long time. But even our native people that we put in, they're fighting among themselves every time. So that's how I'm saying we are in triage. I always stress that we are in triage. It's a medical terminology. We're in triage. We're not Nigeria or Rwanda or these countries that have a little bit of problem and have establishment. That country can't even boast of 10 miles of a bridge. We're surrounded by water. We don't have 10 miles of bridge. We have rail lights and stuff. So we're not to a point that we can talk civically on this platform, and people might listen and might say we're in triage. It's action time. It's not.
So,
This is not time for all to be civilly speaking and talking about things. It's just in case somebody stumble upon this, and they're in power, they might use it. There was a video that went viral of this older Liberian representative. I was speaking these things for a long time about prioritizing your country, growing your own food and stuff, and they kicking out. He got kicked out. So we need somebody. Something has to happen now. That's what we are. Something has to happen.
so this is what I would say, right? And I know we all love our country, but I would say this: we need somebody to come and redeem us. Jerry Rowland did it for Ghana. We need somebody. We need a hard hand. African people would not listen so easily. So if we need somebody and to come and rescue us, somebody who is a diehard Liberian, we care about the country. We don't give a damn about what other people feel or how they're gonna feel. But the nation should be first above anything. You see, if we start having this stuff, and that's for example, like we get the army. Okay,
You
these
have
guys
one,
can
you
listen
let
to.
him go.
I come in. We get the national army, right? Those guys can listen to police people, police officers. You put the army outside, send them to Broad Street, send them to Red Light, send them to Waterside, send them to EW Junction, and see what happened next.
Martial law.
You see what happened next? No, they will beat. I won't use a word, but I will keep it a word.
Martial law.
They will
Martial
beat the crap out of people, and then you will see people in a line.
Bro
People will
Joe.
be in line to stuff. I'm just saying because once you
Yeah.
have these things set up, but you keep telling like, "Brand man, my man, don't do this, man. Don't break the law." They keep breaking the law. They may be for the police officer, be beating police officer, or they would never do an AFL like that. Never do it. At times in life, we need hard hands. And
Bro
don't get
Joe.
me wrong, I got beaten. I
Bro
got beaten
Joe.
so many times when I was younger. They beat
Bro
me
Joe.
up because because how I had it. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah, we deserve
Bro
you.
Joe.
yeah,
Bro Joe.
yeah,
Bro Joe.
yes.
Well, I get, I understand the sentiment that you are expressing. I just don't want people to get the wrong message. You see, in our history, we always try to find someone to come and save us, right? That's why we had the freedom fighters. They came to fight for freedom, and 250, at least 250 Liberians died because we were trying to find someone to come and save us or someone to come and redeem us. What are we looking for someone to come and redeem us from? From what? From ourselves? From our own problems? We don't need a savior. Okay.
I
We
think we
just
do.
need
I think we
we
do.
need serious minded Liberians.
Pastor, what I think we
We
do.
need
We need one
Well,
person.
I don't think we need, I don't think we need a savior because no one can save you. You know what? Jerry Rowland did not save Ghana.
I mean, he did a lot for Ghana and put it on a path.
He did a
So
lot,
the
but he did not
trajectory
save
they're on right now was because of Jerry Rowland.
Bro Joe.
Yes.
The point I'm making is no one person can no one person can do it for us. If we are looking for a savior, to me what that means is let us fold our hands, let us sit down and wait for someone to fight for us, someone to deliver us, and then give us a country that has no problem, right? We shouldn't you know expire for that. We shouldn't look forward for that. We should all be willing to get involved and put our best forward. When you, Brother Joe, are given a chance to serve your country, you serve your country with dignity and with integrity. That would be you playing your part. If every Liberian can see Liberia as their own and say, I am going to do the best that I can to make this country better for my children, we don't need a savior. We become our own saviors, right? So we need serious minded Liberians that can do that, that can put country before self, that can say that other people did it wrong. I'm here to do it right. And regardless the odds, I will commit to doing it right. And I will commit to convincing other people to do it right. If we if we develop that mindset, we as Liberians, if we can develop that, that would be a
So,
success route.
but
Because
Doctor,
Brother
what?
Joe, you might
Like,
come and save us. You might come and save us. But when you leave, what happens next?
In a way, when you leave, you set a precedence, right? So you set guidelines. So all those people, like for example, all the people that embezzle the country money, you know what I'm saying, that corrupt, very corrupt people, people that stole the country money, you seize their property, sell it, give it back to the country. Okay. If they found guilty of what they did was wrong, you put them in jail, lock them up.
yeah, yeah. Let
Now,
me.
what's going to happen? What's going to happen is the next one that come in power will be like, oh, if I messed up, I'm going to go to jail, and my property going to be seized. He's not going to try that anymore. You set deterrence. So these things help. Now, don't tell me we have Liberians in Liberia who have good mindset of transforming the country to another level, but the guys don't have they don't have the political will. They don't have the political power.
Yeah,
Someone that sit
yeah.
there, they sit there in Congress and they speak all the big languages and stuff, but they can't do more. You need somebody who is a higher authority with strong hands that will send us in a good direction. I'm not saying bad things,
And,
but I'm
and,
just
and
saying.
and just to piggyback, from what CEO is saying here, I want to agree with Joe. We're all saying the same thing. Whether we looking for a savior to come from somewhere, I also want to believe that there are competent Liberians, whether outside of Liberia, but they are minute. You see, like my
Very
brother
minute.
Edwin said, the corruption is so on a large and a broader scale, and to find those competent people that will even come to have this little change. Sometimes even you as a reputable person, you rather just go in the private sector because the whole government is just so messed up that. And now I begin to think of what Edwin is saying, because the system is so messed up that you as a clean man, well, for me, no person, I'll just resign because I'm not going to stain my reputation, because that's what the government requires, or that's what the country is asking for. But I also want to say, to just take the side of with CEO here, had it not been the blueprint that Geraldine left, that Mahamas, that Kufuor are following now, Ghana wouldn't have been on the trajectory they're on now. Geraldine, look, sometimes you have to take the stringent, you have to take those hard actions. We are not calling for civil war. We are not calling for brutality. No, but sometimes our people, look, Liberian people, we are afraid of hard hands. If you set example on the first two, three people, whether it's by execution, whether it's they're putting somebody in jail for the next 30 years, everybody will fall in alignment.
I
But
agree
but
with you,
we
brother. I agree.
who are you going to execute when your hands are in the cookies jar, right? So now what can we do? First of all, I always say this, right? I think our constitution is not even helping us. The Liberian constitution is not even change that whole thing. Look at the constitution. It was modeled after the whole country that is so developed, one of the most developed country. You're going to copy, carbon copy, word for word, a constitution or a village, copying a country who is number one in the world for everything. It doesn't suit your system. Change that constitution. Change the name of the country. Change the flag. We're talking about mind development now. When you start doing those things, watch people now who are ready to work come into the country. And like Delon said, Delon, I like the guy, but then sometimes he can call. It's a walking contradiction. I was one person who helped to campaign for the loan, courtesy of Dr. Wolo here. But look, there are people who are willing to go to Liberia, but the system is so vastly corrupt. And even somebody was saying, even Jesus cannot control or cannot change Liberia. And that's why I always want to go look at what CU is saying. Sometimes it's not just the education. Sometimes you just got to put your foot on somebody's
So,
neck and start setting that example.
so
That's all.
I
Yeah.
agree. I agree with that. So I mean, don't get me wrong. We have a lot of educated people in Liberia, but nothing is working. We need somebody to come and change. And that's the mindset of African. They
But
need
Joe,
we need rat. We need
this my
ratting.
question.
Uh-huh.
This my question, right? And
Yeah.
not just to you. What is your education if you are not practicing it to will yield result? Good result.
I
What is
I
your
agree with
education?
you, man. I agree with you. Me and you on the same on the same page on that.
Joe, that's why when Dr. Wallo said it doesn't matter where you are from, you are a Liberian. I agree, granted. But majority of the people that have been on the command side, on leadership side, at least you and myself will agree that 75%, at least from the diaspora, are very disappointing in terms of results. And these are PhD holders. So when he say it doesn't matter, we are all Liberians, I agree. But then these are the Liberians that we hold to such a high extent, and
Look,
you are not seeing
look,
any
my
But
brother,
look,
results.
my
but
brother.
look, man,
This is
the
what I would
point I
say,
was
right?
making, the point I
Yeah.
was making with that is that,
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I understand that.
yeah, but the point I was making with that is, you know, you shouldn't, we should expect all Liberians to be at their best, whether you're from the diaspora or you're in Liberia.
I agree.
That's what our country deserved.
Yeah.
Okay, when you say you love your country or you are patriotic, you stand with your country. Stealing from your country is not you standing with your country. It's not you being
True.
patriotic,
True.
regardless
True.
of where you're coming from.
And again, I would agree, but I would say this: people went there, did what it could do as true Liberian, but it got corrupted because the system is corrupted, and they saw people didn't get penalized for it. People invest a lot of
Now,
money, so now
Every
they
cannot
follow
hold a
it.
position.
and
Everyone
and
not
and
try it.
and, and we're all saying the right thing here. But what I would say is we need a sense of direction. Once we have a system in place, that we have somebody that come, from a higher authority, let's say executive branch, and say if you invest in this, you get penalized. We penalize you. Once we see somebody is, going through that process, the next people that come will not try that.
Yep.
So again, like I said, we have a diehard Liberian. We want to do the best. But when again the system is corrupt, what are we gonna do? So my thing is, we all saying the same thing, but I think our mindset should be changed. We should reshape our mindset. We need physical development in the country. The
This is your
oldest nation,
constitution.
the oldest nation in the world. Look at our airport. Look at our road. Look at our infrastructure. Look at our hydro. A water system. We don't have any. We need those things. So, gentlemen, I think we overstay our time. So we just go for closing statement for each person. I don't know who want to go first. So we can close the
I-
show and then
I'll
we'll talk about
go.
it next time. Anybody want to go
I'll go
first?
first. Yeah, I'll go first.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
He hear you.
Yeah. So first, let me say thanks again to our listening audience, and thanks CEO. It's a good job. Again, I just want to appeal to all of our fans and friends and followers out there. Please share our shows when you see them. We are on YouTube, Action Required Media, and also on Facebook. So guys, let's share the show. These are moments that are used as a teachable moments for us to learn, whether we disagree or not. Let's just share the show. It's all about Mama Liberia. And so my stand, just as a closing, I always tell people whether I'm on another platform or here, if I personally, Leo, if I don't love Liberia, I will not be wasting all these times on different media platform talking on what I think should be happening in Liberia. Okay, they're not paying me, I'm not getting paid, so it's my precious time that I take. So again, all the criticism that you send my way, I embrace it. Liberia's constitution must be changed. At least let it be amended. Let's look at it. What's not happening? Our constitution was since 1840. I don't know when the last time it was amended. I'm not going to sit here and say, but it's not working. It's not happening. The laws on the book. Let's visit the laws. Or may take out what's not working. And again, it will be sad to say that Look, even the council of churches, they're disappointing because why we base Liberia on religion. This is my closing, right? So again, we gotta watch what's working. You know, we cannot stereotype certain group of people because we say this country was based on a Christian principle or whatever it is. We got to look at the laws in the book and be practical. If we are jailing people, let's jail people. If we are executing, let's execute. If we are hanging, let's hang. When you start setting example, I bet you, man, no one want that publicly. Okay, so in closing, I mean, we want to see you back here next week. Share the show, and we will always be speaking our mind, whether you agree with us or not. But that's democracy. You know, we will disagree to agree, but we still remain family. I remain to be Sergeant Montgomery. Thank you, CEO. This action required media. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Who's next?
Yeah, I can go next.
Okay.
Uh, thanks everybody. Thank you, brother Joe, for the show. Uh, Fascinating conversation, and I always say that it is always good for us to discuss these things because that is our way of keeping ourselves engaged with our country. When Pastor Kruma was talking, we look, Liberians, we are very quick to call for different kinds of stuff, you know. But we'll be the same people that are going to complain when it start happening. Like for example, you know, uh, I don't know whether Pastor Kruma was serious about it, about hanging people and doing this to people and doing that to people to set a deterrent. Look, the country is a country of law. Okay, all you need to do is strengthen your judicial system. Someone, someone commit a crime, take the person to court. Okay, the court will decide what punishment that person gets.
The
But
codes
we
are
don't,
not working. Like the one on the code is a first system. Jack. But sorry.
I
Go ahead.
understand, I understand that our court system is not at its best right now. But that's why we are talking about improving the system. Edwin called for the system to be overhauled, right? The system should be dismantled and rebuilt. And he from the supporter Mr. Cummings, as supporter Mr. Cummings, we 100% agree with that, right? That the system needs to be rebuilt, right? So there is no question about that. But my point is not because our country is in this condition, so we should invite people to treat our people anyhow. Look, I got angry one time when I saw Mary Bro. Okay, Mary Bro,
Talking to people on the street, yeah.
yeah, beating people on the street. Well, I saw the video. This man, he was urinating on inside a wall, and Mary Bro caught him, and Mary Bro beat him publicly.
He was
Right?
peeping you. You are urinating that mistake. He was peeping.
Yeah, you are PP, right? You are PP, and Mary Bro described that man publicly. I was angry. I was like, if I was in Liberia, I'm going to sue her on behalf of that man, right? Because look, not because our country is in this kind, is we are struggling, so we should allow people to come and victimize our people. The country is a country of laws. If someone breaks the law, you take them to court. Let the court find them guilty. It is said, uh, innocent until proven guilty. But Liberia, you are guilty, and then you are proven innocent, right? We shouldn't do that. We are a country, right? We should be a country of laws, and we have to abide and obey the laws. We shouldn't think that it's a dictator or someone with an iron hand going to come and change the country because they brutalize people. We saw that in the past. It did not develop Liberia. It did not change Liberia. It did not help Liberia. Let us not invite that. What we should be asking for is good leadership. We ask for transparent leadership. We ask for good governance. We ask for, visionary leaders that will move the country forward. Not people not leaders that will victimize, the citizens. We don't want that. And for me to close, for me to close, we are all Liberians, whether in the diaspora or in Liberia. As long as you are given an opportunity to serve, you serve your country right. That's what God expects you to do. That's what you should expect from yourself, right? Not because other people did it wrong, so you have to do it wrong. Let us choose to do things the right way. Okay, the right way. Let's do it the right way. And and that should be our level of commitment to our country.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Waller. Sam.
Uh, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
All right. I just had a call pop in. I declined it. I didn't want to have that same moment from last week. Um, I just want to thank you guys for having me. I want to appreciate Dr. Wallow, Sergeant. It was a healthy discussion. We weren't yelling at each other or on top of each other. We all want the best for Liberia, um, but as articulate as Dr. Waller is, and very calm manner and very civil. We name a lot of people like him in Liberia, but unfortunately, Dr. Waller, we are not at the settings where civility is required. We need militants. That's what we need in Liberia because if you have somebody that is struggling for their life in an emergency room, the doctor, the surgeon have to tell you which part to take out to save the life. Uh, for how calm and articulate you are, those were when things were progressing, when the country were moving, when Liberian kids were graduating at the age of 16, when we were spearheading the entire WIAC in West Africa, we were on the right path. We taught me how the government schools were competing with private schools, and the minds were being developed. So if we were still at that pace and moving onward, there's no need for us requiring like an immediate action, like Joseph said. But where we are, it's been 178 years. Uh, we brought Todman in. Todman, a very articulated lawyer, smart lawyer. I came in. I was supposed to counter the foreigners that were coming over there, and it was supposed to negotiate a right deal because he was so educated. But he came in, he wanted to ingratiate himself with the whites and sign one of the worst deals in Liberia for the land. He fast forward to Dole, destroy a lot of years of education in one day. Could I send us through the prison and try to extract ideas from them to keep going? Just shoot them plain blank on the spot. So this is what our country is built on. So we're not saying these things because um, we want a quick fix. We don't want microwave fix. We also have patience. We are also futuristic. We are saying these things because this is where we are coming from, and the future looks bleak until it's disrupted. It needs a reset, a complete reset. If you ask me right now, what does Liberia need? I would tell you we need reformation education, we need law and order, we need the city to be decentralized, and then you can go on and that road building and all that stuff. But that is not going to be action oriented in that country. On the system that we have right now, be it people from the diaspora that try to help or that try to play a corrupt game, that is not going to happen. We need that quick rain or sun that pop up in the middle of rainy season and put everybody to a standstill. Not advocating for fighting. I never advocate for fighting. We don't want it that way, but we need somebody to bring the system to a halt, destroy it, and then rebuild it so it can be fair for every Liberian. So we that are here with the little that we know, we can go back and contribute to the country. Uh, if we don't have that, we can lobby over here and lobby with the lawmakers to pass certain laws that will favor or that will make it easier for us to create funding in the country to affect change in the country. We can do things like that. But we can't sit here idle. We can't sit here and wait for the Liberian government to change. That motive is not to change. is to keep the people exactly how they are, so they can get the wealth for themselves, so they can sign those bad deals for the minerals, having 97% of everything going out and 3% stays in the country. So until we can really laser focus on the current system and how to tear it down, nothing is going to happen. Nothing will change. We will diagnose, nothing will happen. Um, I will only foresee the future as better when that happens. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to our listeners and our viewers. I just want to say um, thanks to the panelists and Dr. Archibald Waller. I just want to say thank you. I do appreciate you for coming in and giving your opinions on this. And also to my friend and brother Edwin Paul, who spoke very eloquently on this show. I just want to say thank you for your contribution, and I look forward to you. Look forward to see you next Sunday. And not forgetting one of my co-hosts, Sergeant Leo Kroma. I just want to say thank you and for all your contribution and that you do. Mama Liberia will always remain at heart for us Liberians. And again, the discussion was fruitful. But again, like I said, we will always discuss difficult conversations and find remedies for our problems. Um, this discussion was fruitful. I just want to say thank you to our listeners and our viewers. Be it what we where we are, where we stand on it matters. Liberia, we need to reshape our thinking when it comes to electing officers of our nation, and also we should be thinking on how can we self-develop, how can we develop together as a nation, how can we foster love, how can we foster nation builders among us. At this time, I just want to say thank you. We look forward to seeing you and hearing you on next Sunday. Um, Pretty soon, sometime next month, we're going to be giving a monetary prize. We're going to be entertaining, we're going to have questions and we'll entertain answers. And those that can answer the questions will give a monetary prize. Once again, thank you. We just want to appreciate you. We say you have a blessed and wonderful